Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Polish ebook before it's gone.
Welcome to Can Do Polish by PolishPod101.com.
Cześć wszystkim! Jestem Emil Nowak. Hi everyone, I'm Emil Nowak. In this lesson, you'll learn how to introduce yourself in Polish.
This is Mark Lee, and he's on a plane to Poland. Mark is having a casual conversation with Maciej Mazur, a passenger sitting next to him. After a short exchange, Maciej introduces himself. My name is Maciej Mazur, and you are?
Nazywam się Maciej Mazur. A pan?
Listen to the conversation and focus on Mark's response. Ready?
Nazywam się Maciej Mazur. A pan?
Jestem Mark Lee. Miło mi.
Once more with the English translation.
Nazywam się Maciej Mazur. A pan?
My name is Maciej Mazur, and you are?
Jestem Mark Lee. Miło mi.
I'm Mark Lee. Nice to meet you.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how Maciej Mazur introduces himself? I'm Maciej Mazur, and you are?
Nazywam się Maciej Mazur. A pan?
First is,
Nazywam się.
meaning I call myself.
Nazywam się.
Note
Nazywam się.
is the shortened form of,
Ja nazywam się.
in Polish,
Ja.
I is usually omitted,
Nazywam się.
is from the verb,
Nazywać się.
meaning to call oneself.
Nazywać się.
Next is the name
Maciej Mazur.
Maciej Mazur.
Maciej Mazur. Maciej Mazur.
Together,
Nazywam się Maciej Mazur.
literally, I call myself Maciej Mazur, but it translates as, my name is Maciej Mazur.
Nazywam się Maciej Mazur.
Next is,
A pan?
which translates as, and you are? In this context.
A pan?
First is,
A.
and, as in, and you are?
A. A.
Next is,
Pan.
translating as you in this formal context.
Pan. Pan.
Note,
Pan.
is a formal way to address a male, and it often translates as Mr. Altogether, it's
Nazywam się Maciej Mazur. A pan?
literally, I call myself Maciej Mazur. And you? But translates as, my name is Maciej Mazur. And you are?
Nazywam się Maciej Mazur. A pan?
Do you remember how Mark says, I'm Mark Lee. Nice to meet you.
Jestem Mark Lee. Miło mi.
First is,
Jestem.
I am.
Jestem. Jestem.
Note,
Jestem.
is a shortened form of,
Ja jestem.
I am. In Polish,
Ja.
I is usually omitted as it is understood from context. Next is the name
Mark Lee.
Mark Lee.
Mark Lee. Mark Lee.
Together,
Jestem Mark Lee.
I'm Mark Lee.
Jestem Mark Lee.
Next is,
Miło mi.
literally, pleases me, but translates as, nice to meet you.
Miło mi. Miło mi.
This expression can be used in many contexts and is appropriate for both formal and informal situations. Altogether, it's
Jestem Mark Lee. Miło mi.
literally, I'm Mark Lee, pleases me. But it translates as, I'm Mark Lee. Nice to meet you.
Jestem Mark Lee. Miło mi.
The pattern is,
Jestem name.
I'm name.
Jestem name.
To use this pattern, simply replace the name placeholder with your given name or given name and surname. Note, this pattern requires a proper noun. Imagine you're Karen Lee. In Polish,
Karen Lee. Karen Lee. Karen Lee.
say, I'm Karen Lee. Ready?
Jestem Karen Lee.
I'm Karen Lee.
Jestem Karen Lee.
In Polish, there are both informal and formal ways of speaking. What you use depends on whom you're speaking with. According to Polish etiquette, in a formal situation, the person you're talking to should be addressed in a polite manner. When addressing a male, use pan, meaning Mr. When addressing a female, use pani, meaning miss. This is also the polite way to approach strangers, people significantly older than you, and others in a formal situation. In the conversation you learned, a pan, and you, when addressing a male. If Maciej were addressing a female, he would have said, a pani, and you. In casual situations or when talking to your peers, you can use the informal ty, meaning you. A ty, and you.
Let's look at some more examples. Listen and repeat, or speak along with the native speakers.
Nazywam się Maciej Mazur. Nazywam się Maciej Mazur.
Jestem Mark Lee. Jestem Mark Lee.
Jestem Karen. Miło mi. Jestem Karen. Miło mi.
Dzień dobry. Jestem Emil Nowak. Dzień dobry. Jestem Emil Nowak.
Mam na imię Zuzanna. Mam na imię Zuzanna.
Did you notice how the last speaker uses a different pattern?
Mam na imię Zuzanna.
My name is Zuzanna.
Mam na imię Zuzanna.
First is,
Mam.
literally, I have, but translates as my in this context.
Mam. Mam.
Note,
Mam.
is the shortened form of,
Ja mam.
in Polish,
Ja.
I is usually omitted,
Mam.
is from the verb
Mieć.
meaning to have.
Mieć.
Next is
Na.
at.
Na. Na.
Note, there is no corresponding English translation for.
Na.
Next is
Imię.
literally first name, but translates as name.
Imię. Imię.
Together,
Mam na imię.
my first name is.
Mam na imię.
Note, this pattern can only be used with first names and requires a proper noun. Next is the name
Zuzanna.
Zuzanna.
Zuzanna. Zuzanna.
Altogether,
Mam na imię Zuzanna.
literally means I have first name Zuzanna, but translates as my name is Zuzanna.
Mam na imię Zuzanna.
The pattern is,
Mam na imię name.
my name is name. To use this pattern, simply replace the name placeholder with your first name. You should be aware of this pattern, but you won't need it for this lesson. Welcome to Can Do Polish by PolishPod101.com.
Cześć wszystkim, jestem Emil Nowak. Hi everyone, I'm Emil Nowak. In this lesson, you'll learn how to tell someone where you're from in Polish.
This is Mark Lee, and he's on a plane to Poland. Maciej Mazur, a passenger sitting next to him, asks, "Where are you from?"
Skąd pan jest?
Listen to the conversation and focus on Mark's response. Note, the speakers in this conversation use formal Polish. Ready?
Skąd pan jest?
Jestem z Nowego Jorku.
Once more with the English translation.
Skąd pan jest?
Where are you from?
Jestem z Nowego Jorku.
I'm from New York.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how Maciej Mazur asks, "Where are you from?"
Skąd pan jest?
First is,
Skąd?
meaning from where.
Skąd? Skąd?
Next is,
Pan jest.
you are in this context.
Pan jest.
Let's start with
Pan.
translating as you in this formal context.
Pan. Pan.
Note,
Pan.
is a formal way to address a male, and it often translates as Mr. Next is
Jest.
literally is, but in this context it translates as are.
Jest. Jest.
Together in this conversation,
Pan jest.
literally means Mr. is, but translates as you are in formal Polish.
Pan jest. Jest.
Is from the verb
Być.
meaning to be.
Być.
Altogether,
Skąd pan jest?
literally from where Mr. is, but it translates as where are you from?
Skąd pan jest?
Remember this question. You'll hear it again later in this lesson.
Now, let's take a closer look at the response.
Do you remember how Mark Lee says, "I'm from New York"?
Jestem z Nowego Jorku.
First is
Jestem.
I am.
Jestem. Jestem.
Note in this sentence
Jestem.
is a shortened form of
Ja jestem.
I am. In Polish,
Ja.
I is usually omitted as it's understood from context.
Jestem.
Is from the verb
Być.
meaning to be.
Być.
Last is
Z Nowego Jorku.
meaning from New York.
Z Nowego Jorku.
Let's start with
Nowego Jorku.
which is placed in the genitive case because it follows
Z. Nowego Jorku.
is the genitive form of the proper noun
Nowy Jork.
New York.
Nowy Jork.
In Polish, all nouns have grammatical gender and are either singular or plural.
Jork.
Is masculine singular, a fact that will determine the form of other words in the sentence.
Jork.
Becomes
Jorku.
when it is placed in the genitive.
Nowy.
Becomes
Nowego.
to agree with
Jorku.
in gender, number, and case. Together,
Nowego Jorku.
before
Nowego Jorku.
is
Z.
from.
Z. Z.
Altogether,
Jestem z Nowego Jorku.
I'm from New York.
Jestem z Nowego Jorku.
The pattern is
Jestem z. Location.
I'm from location.
Jestem z. Location.
To use this pattern, simply replace the location placeholder with the name of your hometown. Note, this pattern requires a proper noun placed in the genitive and works with the names of cities, villages, towns, or countries. Imagine you're from Sydney. In Polish,
Sydney. Sydney. Sydney.
note the genitive form of
Sydney.
is.
Sydney.
Say, I'm from Sydney. Ready?
Jestem z Sydney.
I'm from Sydney.
Jestem z Sydney.
Polish operates with 3 words for you. Ty. You. Informal term. Pan. You. Formal term to address a male. Pani. You. Formal term to address a female. When talking about where you're from, the pattern jestem z requires the proper noun of location, and this location name must be placed in the genitive.
There are some simple rules that will help you create the genitive case based on the ending of the noun. First, masculine nouns in Polish tend to end in consonants. To form the genitive for masculine, singular nouns, attach
A,
or.
U. Kraków.
Krakow becomes.
Krakowa. Londyn.
London becomes.
Londynu.
As a rule of thumb for masculine nouns, inanimate nouns or nouns of foreign origin in the genitive often end with
U. Nowego Jorku.
New York.
Nowego Jorku. Biznes.
Business becomes.
Biznesu.
Feminine nouns tend to end in.
A.
To form the genitive of feminine singular nouns, replace the
A.
ending with an.
Warszawa.
Warsaw becomes.
Warszawy.
If the noun ends in an,
K. Ga.
replace the last letter with an.
I. Polska.
Poland becomes.
Polski.
If the noun ends in
Ci.
or,
Zi.
replace the letter with an
C.
or
Z.
and attach an
I.
at the end.
Łódź.
Lodz becomes.
Łodzi.
Neuter nouns tend to end in an.
O.
To form the genitive of neuter singular nouns, replace the ending
O.
with an.
A. Maroko.
Morocco becomes.
Maroka.
Note, there is a set of irregular nouns, such as
Seattle.
or,
Sydney.
that don't change in the genitive. Let's look at some examples. Listen and repeat, or speak along with the native speakers.
Jestem z Nowego Jorku. Jestem z Nowego Jorku.
Jestem z Suwałk, a ty? Jestem z Suwałk, a ty?
Jestem z Seattle, a pan? Jestem z Seattle, a pan?
Jestem z Londynu, a pani? Jestem z Londynu, a pani?
Jestem z Polski. Jestem z Polski.
Jestem Australijką. Jestem Australijką.
Did you notice how the last speaker uses a different pattern?
Jestem Australijką.
I'm Australian.
Jestem Australijką.
First is
Jestem.
I am.
Jestem. Jestem.
Next is
Australijką.
an Australian woman.
Australijką. Australijką.
Note,
Australijką.
is the instrumental form of the feminine noun
Australijka.
Australian.
Australijka.
To form the instrumental case for feminine singular nouns ending in
A.
replace it with
On. Australijka.
becomes.
Australijką.
This pattern is
Jestem nationality.
I'm nationality. To use this pattern, simply replace the nationality placeholder with your nationality. Note, this pattern requires a noun in the instrumental case, and its gender will depend on the gender of the speaker. Mia Martin uses
Australijką.
Jestem Australijką.
a male speaker from Australia would use
Australijczykiem. Jestem Australijczykiem.
I'm Australian.
Jestem Australijczykiem.
Note,
Australijczykiem.
is the instrumental form of the masculine noun.
Australijczyk.
To form the instrumental case for masculine singular nouns with the ending
G.
or k, n
I.
is added before the instrumental ending
M. Australijczyk.
becomes.
Australijczykiem.
You can use this response to answer the question,
Skąd pan jest? Skąd pani jest?
or its informal form.
Skąd jesteś?
You should be aware of this pattern, but you won't need it for this lesson. Welcome to Can Do Polish by PolishPod101.com.
Cześć wszystkim, jestem Emil Nowak. Hi everyone, I'm Emil Nowak. In this lesson, you'll learn how to give your phone number.
This is Mark Lee, and he's at City Hall registering his address. The civil servant who is helping him says, "Your phone number, please."
Poproszę pana numer telefonu.
Listen to the conversation and focus on the response. Note, the civil servant in this conversation uses formal Polish. Ready?
Poproszę pana numer telefonu.
Mój numer telefonu to 656 122 344.
Once more with the English translation.
Poproszę pana numer telefonu.
Your phone number, please.
Mój numer telefonu to 656 122 344.
My phone number is 656 122 344.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how the civil servant says, "Your phone number, please"?
Poproszę pana numer telefonu.
Let's start with
Numer telefonu.
phone number.
Numer telefonu.
This starts with
Numer.
number.
Numer. Numer.
Next is
Telefonu.
phone.
Telefonu. Telefonu.
Note,
Telefon.
translates as telephone or phone. We'll use the abbreviated version phone as this will include various kinds of phones, including mobile phones, landlines, and so forth.
Telefonu.
Is the genitive form of
Telefon.
telephone.
Telefon.
This form of the genitive case is similar to the way of is used in the English Department of Economics, Secretary of State, or Game of Thrones. In Polish, all nouns have grammatical gender and are either singular or plural.
Telefon.
Is masculine singular. To form the genitive for masculine singular nouns ending in a consonant, add a
U. Telefon.
becomes
Telefonu.
when placed in the genitive. Together, it's
Numer telefonu.
phone number.
Numer telefonu.
Before
Numer telefonu.
is
Pana.
literally Mr.'s, as in Mr.'s telephone number, but translating as your in this context.
Pana. Pana. Pana.
Is the genitive singular form of
Pan.
Mr.
Pan. Pan.
Is placed in the genitive to indicate the possession of the phone number. Moving to the front of the sentence,
Poproszę.
please.
Poproszę. Poproszę.
Altogether,
Poproszę pana numer telefonu.
literally, please Mr.'s phone number, but it translates as your phone number, please.
Poproszę pana numer telefonu.
Now, you might be more familiar with
Twój.
an informal word for your, as in
Twój numer telefonu.
your telephone number. As this is a city office setting, the formal form
Pan.
is more appropriate. Remember this request. You'll hear it again later.
Let's take a closer look at the response.
Do you remember how Mark says, my phone number is 656-122-344?
Mój numer telefonu to 656 122 344.
Do you remember how to say phone number?
Numer telefonu.
Phone number.
Numer telefonu.
Recall
Numer telefonu.
is masculine singular. Before this is
Mój.
my.
Mój. Mój.
In this sentence,
Mój.
is masculine singular. To agree with,
Numer.
next is.
To.
In this case, think of it as something like an equal sign, but translates as is in this context.
To. To.
Together, it's
Mój numer telefonu to.
literally my phone number equals, but translates as my phone number is.
Mój numer telefonu to.
Next is Mark's phone number.
656 122 344. 656 122 344.
Note how Mark says his phone number. When giving your phone number in Polish, say each digit separately. After each group of digits, include a short pause in place of the hyphen. For example,
656 122 344.
altogether, it's
Mój numer telefonu to 656 122 344.
my phone number is 656-122-344.
Mój numer telefonu to 656 122 344.
The pattern is
Mój numer telefonu to number.
my phone number is number.
Mój numer telefonu to number.
To use this pattern, simply replace the number placeholder with your phone number. Note, this pattern requires a sequence of digits. Each should be said separately. Imagine your phone number is 689-111-111.
6, 8, 9, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. 6, 8, 9, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Say, my phone number is 689-111-111. Ready?
Mój numer telefonu to 6 8 9 1 1 1 1 1 1.
My phone number is 689-111-111.
Mój numer telefonu to 6 8 9 1 1 1 1 1 1.
Let's look at some examples. Listen and repeat, or speak along with the native speakers.
Mój numer telefonu to 656 122 344.
Mój numer telefonu to 6 8 9 1 1 1 1 1 1.
Mój numer telefonu to 582 593 454.
Mój numer telefonu to 743 262 751.
667 178 232. 667 178 232. Did you notice how I omitted mój numer telefonu to? Sześć, 7 178 232.
667-178-232. When directly responding to a request, it's often possible to omit part of the response. Here, by simply giving your phone number, there's no need to say,
Mój numer telefonu to.
my phone number is. The pattern is,
Number.
you should be aware of this shortcut, but you won't need it for this lesson.
Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.